Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of the Rose Reviews. And my name is Adam Rose, and I just want to start off by saying, thank you so much for tuning in and listening. And this is something I have been, wanting to do this for a really long time now, and am very happy to be able to finally start in on this journey with you guys, the listeners. So, how this show is going to work is it's a pretty simple format here. I'm just going to be reviewing a movie every week. Either indie film or a large popcorn movie that comes out in wide release. I'm basically just giving you my thoughts about the film, what I loved, what I hated, anything I found interesting, etc., etc. I'll give you my score on a film. A low score would be a thorn, a high score being a rose. And we'll talk about that towards the end of this review. And I'll give you my recommendation and recommend, if I would say that you should go out and spend your hard-earned money to go out and see this or not in theaters, and what you could expect from it. So before we start, if you enjoy any part of the show today, I would ask if you wouldn't mind going over and liking and reviewing this podcast, Rose Reviews, in iTunes, and hopping over to Facebook and giving Rose Reviews a like on Facebook. That would mean a great deal to me and really help me out. Since I'm just now getting started here. So today we'll be talking about a film that actually was released last week, and that is Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, right? Mike and Dave. It's a really catchy title, I think. Gets a lot of people wondering what the heck this movie is about. So it's a super catchy title here. And here's a little synopsis for you. By the way, all these reviews will be spoiler-free. I'm not going to spoil anything that really happens in the movie. This one's really hard to spoil anyways, but, if a big comic book movie comes out or whatever, don't worry about spoilers. I definitely won't be spoiling the movies for you guys. So the synopsis for this one is: two hard-hitting brothers place an online ad to find the perfect dates for their sister's Hawaiian wedding. Hoping for a wild getaway, the boys instead find themselves out-hustled by the uncontrollable duo. That's a pretty decent synopsis of what it is. It's basically, and you can tell us if you've seen any of the trailers for this, it's basically Zac Efron and Adam Devine. And Zac Efron, obviously Zac Efron being from Disney Channel fame with High School Musical, and then he's also been in a lot of pretty good role. Paperboy, if you haven't seen that film, he was in Paperboy, which was an excellent film, and he was excellent in it. But he's also been in a lot of these comedies so far. He's in Bad Grandpa earlier this year, Neighbors 2 earlier this year. So he's really getting into these funny type of films and trying to really show his comedic chops, which I actually think he's actually very, very funny. I used to think he was terrible, but he's actually really improved for me. And Adam Devine has been in a couple, nothing big, but a couple TV shows here and there. I think he was in 30 Rock for a while, and has had bit parts in movies as well. So it stars those two guys with, of course, Anna Kendrick and Aubrey Plaza. Anna Kendrick being from Pitch Perfect movies. Aubrey Plaza was in Parks and Rec along with Chris Pratt and all those people. So it's pretty good actors, I would say. Pretty good actors, pretty funny people, younger people, up-and-comers. So pretty good cast and everything like that. And that's kind of what so if you watch the trailer, you kind of know what you're getting yourself in for here. This is just going to be a fun comedy, R-rated, by the way. It's R-rated comedy, mainly just for language. There's a couple nudity things here and there, but nothing major by any means. So it just came out this last weekend. It actually ended up making about $16 million its opening weekend, coming in fourth place behind Secret Life of Pets, Finding Dory, and I can't remember what was third. But came in fourth place. It has a budget of about $33 million. So not too bad. Probably not the greatest opening, but I was only tracking to make about 10, so it actually did pretty well with the $16 million. And of course, that $33 million, the budget is actually not 100% accurate because you have to add on top of that marketing, etc. on top of that. So it's closer, probably around $45 million, making about $16 million opening weekend here in the U.S. It's pretty good. It's pretty good, especially because it was tracking so poorly. Around $10 million, making 16 is pretty solid, I would say. So let's talk about the director of this film. The director is Jake Sosminski. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I think he's Polish. He's actually only done TV movies and television shows, which, television right now, nowadays, is getting to be about the same quality as a lot of major motion pictures. So just saying you do TV is not anything negative by any means. But yeah, he hasn't done any really big pictures. This would be his first big motion picture with a studio like this. The writers are Andrew J. Cohen and Brendan O'Brien. These guys, big things they've written before would be Neighbors and Neighbors 2. So obviously they like working with Zac Efron because he was in both of those movies as well. And so obviously they like working with him, and he likes working with them and writing. And so they wrote this film. Now, in regards to the direction and the script and the writing and stuff like that, I mean, it's not an artistic masterpiece of a film by any means. The direction is pretty simple. The shots are pretty well, shot, I would say. I didn't have no shaky cam, no problems like that. Everything was pretty clear, so I would say the direction, was fine. I thought the actors did the best that they could. I think the really big problem with this film that I actually really have is the script. There are a couple jokes and things that they try in this movie that just don't land and just go on for way too long, to where it's an uncomfortable degree. And I'm all for these, stupid, fun comedy movies, but some of these jokes, and I don't want to spoil it for you, but some of these jokes just go on way too long, and it just kind of ruins the joke for me. You'll see what I'm talking about if you see the film. Trust me. Everyone that was in my theater, I went with my girlfriend, and even her, I could see her face, and everyone else in the theater was just kind of like, okay, all right, we get it. Come on, here we go. Let's move on. So yeah, there's a couple problems with the script here and there. Of course, you probably know exactly how it's going to end, what the beats of the film are going to be. I mean, it's pretty play by, the numbers there. It's nothing groundbreaking by any means, but there are some laughs to be had in it for sure. As far as the performances go, like I said, I think everyone did their job fine. I thought Adam Devine's character and Aubrey Plaza's character were the least developed. And how much can you really have for a comedy like this in regards to character development? But they were more of characters of themselves than they were actual people. And I feel like to really enjoy a comedy, and a good comedy, you have to care about these people and actually be invested in them and actually believe that they're real people. And for about, I would say, 3/4 of the film, I just didn't buy them as real people. And doing, some of this crazy stuff. With some of the crazy stuff plays off, and it plays really well. But them as characters just didn't really... They're just too goofy and weren't real enough for me to really care. And so when they would have jokes or they would have moments, I just kind of don't care about it. And therefore, it's not really funny to me because I'm like, oh, you're just a character of a person. You're not a real person. So, that was okay. I don't want to spoil this scene by any means, but there is one scene where Zac Efron, and he hadn't been shirtless the whole movie, and I personally was like, wow, this guy hasn't, you're going to pay Zac Efron to be in your movie, you're selling it as this, sexy comedy, funny thing, and you're not going to have Zac Efron shirtless at all. Wow, okay. And then there's a scene, and towards the end of the film, I would say, and it was completely, he had no reason to take his shirt off, and he took it off, and of course, they had to throw that in. I think it's probably part of his contract. But that was funny, and if you see that moment in the movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, oh, okay, you're shirtless now, okay. All right. So let's talk about the end of the day. End of the day here. You know exactly what you're getting into with this film. Watch the trailer. You'll see what type of comedy this is going to be. So let me explain how the rating system is going to work for these reviews. Basically, 1 or 0 would be like a thorn, basically, hence the title of the show, Rose Reviews. 0 would be like a thorn, so it's terrible, it's painful to actually watch, hence the thorn, that's a 0. 5 is going to be like a fully grown rose, like beautiful rose, like I'm talking Beauty and the Beast, inside the glass thingy type of rose, right? So that's a 5, right? That's going to be one of my favorite films, etc., etc. So this one I'm going to give a 3 out of 5. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. So if it was on Rotten Tomatoes, it'd be a fresh score. So that'd be called a bud. We're going to call that a bud. It's not a full-grown rose, but it's a bud. So, if you like this type of humor, I think you'll get some laughs out of it. I don't think it'll be, an Oscar contender by any means. And, if you like what you see, I think you're really, really, I think you'll get some laughs and you'll have a good time. Pretty forgettable film, but overall not too bad. So that's the review for Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. Thank you for listening to this very first episode of the Rose Reviews. Again, go ahead and comment and like, subscribe on iTunes, and leave a review. That would be awesome and very, very helpful. And until next time, bye-bye.